Hi, I'm John Munoz, and welcome back to the Business Networking Channel, hosted by the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Again, with me in studio is Toby Rue.
John, this has been a great event. I'm telling you, I love talking about my faith and God's work in my life, and to be able to sit down next to the table and really put it out there of how the business of our world, you know, the economics and the commerce is really nothing unless you get a spiritual touch. And on our members and our audience out there, whatever your faith base may be, this is just a great introduction to a church that's doing things. And when we were off camera, we were talking about some things that happened that I thought needed to be brought up to the forefront. And we recently had the memorial for the 9/11 attacks that happened in New York many years ago. It was 10 years ago, 2001. And you said you got together and you were able to honor some of our leaders in our fire department, our city, and our government.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Toby, we had about 6 months out, or beginning of the year, we really began to brainstorm on our staff, and we wanted to do something to remember and never forget what happened to our country, number one, through the terrorist attack on this country, and secondly, to really honor our public servants, the people that put their life on the line every day. And so we were able to participate really with the city. They had a program at I think 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock that afternoon, but that morning we were able to have our mayor out, Mayor Ken, and then we had other representatives. We had our police chief, Travis Brown, our county chief that was there. We had our police chief, Richard Williams, and just some others. Hugo Acosta with the EMS. All the first responders. The first responders, and then we also our commander had a representative from White Sands Missile Range, and we honored those guys. We wanted them to know how much we appreciated their service to this community. You know, as Christians, you know, I just want to say this: as Christians, we're told to honor those who serve us. Right. Who are in authority over us, and God has put them there as public servants for us. So we want to be good citizens, and give back into the community, and appreciate these folks. And we had a great time. It was a great day.
Well, that is wonderful that you would open your church to the community. You know, when
well, that's what it is.
Right.
I mean, you're supposed to have an open church. You know, some people don't do a good job of it, but you guys seem to be doing it.
No, you guys did a wonderful job, especially when there was so much hurt around that time. You know, you remember, and obviously, you know, where it's the hustle and bustle of every day. Yeah, every day, and it's always good to come home and have a church home, and you know, just work on your spirituality and connection with God. And so, obviously, we can tell there's a lot of passion that you have, Pastor, about this. You know, and obviously, you know, you can. There's a sense of strong leadership. You know, and that's very important because you hold a tough job. You really do. One of the toughest jobs that I know of is being a pastor.
Well, you know, John, it's not far from the tree. I mean, you know that as far back as you can remember, you had some spiritual relationship. Your father was a pastor, and he worked closely with you and helped build those morals and those values. And the thing is that, you know, there are a lot of people that have a different version of how they think they should have a relationship. And we're not here to tell them how they can have or not have a relationship, but I think it's good to know that from early beginnings to you know, strong, enriched community enrollment, and there has to be a connection. There has to be more than just getting up and grinding the axe all day long and coming home. And I think that when you start to explore that there is something else, that's when you start to feel the blessings and the enrichment of what it has to offer. And I was looking down some of the lists, and you have this thing, speaking of nourishment, called the bread of life. Can you expand a little bit on the bread of life and how that can...
Well, we just started this about 1.5 years ago, and you know, when the recession hit and people began to really feel the crunch, we decided to begin to do something more proactive. We always have helped people through our benevolence through the church, and just families that come through, and especially in our congregation and those outside. And so we began to develop the Bread of Life ministry, where we give out food every week, and our facilities are open Monday through Thursday from 1 to 4. People can stop by the church and pick up food, and it's free. We give it away. And
now, are you partnered with, what's the soup kitchen is what we do? Or?
The Caldito soup.
It's a little different. We purchased the food from an organization, I think, and a Roadrunner organization.
Okay.
We purchase it at a real reduced cost,
Yep.
and then sometimes we buy it. We buy it basically from them, and then we give it out. So it's giving back to the community. We serve over right now about 100 families a month.
Wow.
And we just kind of increased our capacity there. Just bought a small portable building and set it up for that very purpose to do more and enlarge that.
Now speaking of the location and the population, now I'm going to give our audience just a little bit more of a aerial view of what we're talking about. Your new location is on Highway 70.
Right.
Heading
if you go east, and we're just past Oñate High School.
So
as you pass that high school, go to the next exit, which is Porter Drive. Make a U on the turnaround, come about halfway back, and you'll see our church on the right. You can't miss it.
And that East Mesa is really starting.
And don't speed going to church.
Yeah,
that's right.
There's some speed traps here once in a while.
So okay, all right. So yeah, it's part of that new build the church. I mean the county funds or something.
Yeah, building the county funds.
But going back to that aerial view for our members and our audience out there, we grow out there, and for many years in Las Cruces, that area was not developed. And as we all remember back in the days when the housing boom was really pulling out, there was just a huge expansion out there. And so there are families out there that just don't make that drive into Las Cruces. And for many of us, I remember there were a lot of families that were poverty stricken and having a lot of difficulties. And for you to have the opportunity to place your congregation not only in an area that's growing, but making it an opportunity to help those who are out there, I mean, it's got to be tough. So those decisions had to be made, and I'm sure you have some strong leaders in your organization.
It's all ran by volunteers. Folks have a real heart to help people, and especially those that need food. And so we do have a neighborhood out there. A lot of new homes, not a lot of subdivisions have gone up, but there's also those that were there before that.
That's right.
And that are living in poverty. And so we're doing everything we can to help out in those areas, and can't do everything, but we can do something.
Sure. Right.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, it's a great church community, and we hear that all over town. It's a tribute to your membership and to you, Pastor. So tell us about some more activities. There's a wonderful Kids World program and our carnival you want to talk about. Let's hear about that.
That's great. Our church really began 84 years ago, as I mentioned to you earlier, and it really began with a ministry and outreach to children. And through the years of our church, our history, we've always had a strong children's family outreach. In fact, probably 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, the church did a bus ministry. And they ran buses all over town, and I still meet people today that says, I used to go to your church when I was a kid. They'd pick me up on a bus. But today we have Kids World, which meets on Sunday mornings at 9 and 10:45. It's geared for the elementary age from 6 to age 11. We have the Kids Academy, which is for the preschoolers. And so we have nurseries for those kids up to 2. 3 to 5 year olds is the Kids Academy, and they learn Bible scriptures. They have fun. They learn on their level, and every Sunday, the kids are learning, growing.
It gives the families a chance to go do our stuff, and they can have the kids in there.
And kids learn, and it's great to have kids, and we love kids. They come into the auditorium a lot of times. Yet I know that they learn a lot more from Pastor Vic than me, because I'm preaching and speaking to adults or teaching to adults. It's on their level. They use object lessons. They do fun stuff that will really stick with the kids, that teach them biblical truth. And so that's one of the great things. Another thing a ministry that was started some 20 years ago nearly, was Noah's Ark Learning Center. Yep. And that's been a great blessing to our community. Again, we serve families all over our community. Today we have 150 students enrolled there. We have a staff of 28 full and part-time workers and staff there, and have a wonderful crew of people that work there.
That's a great Vanessa went to Noah's Ark, and so we know that's a good Christian
So
program.
when we moved out, that was one of the things. One of our buildings was a children's ministry center, and Noah's Ark and Kids World is all housed there. And they have a playground back, and it's protected, and it's just a neat ministry to the families of our community. So many families have to work. Mom and Dad both work. We open at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we close at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's good care, and they're learning, growing, and being instructed in even Scripture and understanding spiritual principles in the afternoon. It's just a wonderful ministry.
Pastor Dave, I just want to tell you I appreciate all those opportunities you're sharing with our audience. And I guess that there are also those connections. If there's a business out there or a way that we can partner together and help after-school programs, help the kids that are under the, definitely just give you a call. I'm sure your staff will be open to sit down, open the dialogue, have the conversation to see how other channels of partnership that we can have in a business community.
We would love to do that. We would love to do it.
And obviously we're going to be scrolling, we've scrolled your website, your address on the screen, so if someone wants to come by and visit, to join your congregation, they're certainly welcome.
Sure.
And we've also scrolled the services, as well as also a bilingual service as well in Spanish, and it's always nice to hear church in Spanish. They say Spanish is spoken in heaven. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the language of love.
That's the rubric.
So your Sundays at 9 and 10:45.
9 and 10:45.
And you have Wednesday at 7.
And we do English services at 9 and 10:45. And then at 10:45 we have a Spanish pastor that's a staff pastor that serves with me. His name is Nathan Gonzalez, a wonderful young man who just finished his education and is just a dynamic young man. And he speaks at 10:45. There's Spanish worship, Spanish service geared to the Spanish speaker, and so that's going on.
You can go learn Spanish, Jim.
I guess I could.
Yeah, and we do that on Wednesday night also. We mirror the services, so simultaneously while English services going on in English, we have a Spanish service for those who prefer or speak Spanish only. So,
Dave, you have such a wonderful opportunity there, and John, there's always good things to hear in our community, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me mention something that I wanted to kind of come back to was with the kids and our children, reaching our children. One of the things that we're going to be doing here in the real near future is our fall carnival, harvest carnival that we do, and it's going to be on October the 30th, which is a Sunday, I believe it is. And
we'll scroll that information out there, and we'll definitely get it across to our members and our audience.
But it's a great outreach to the community to provide a good, wholesome place to parents bring their kids. There's going to be air toys. There's going to be all kinds of games and fun. We'll be giving out tons of candy and just helping the families have a good family time with their kids that day.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to go ahead and post your flyer on our website. We're going to scroll the information, and we encourage kids to go out there October 30th. So again, this is John Munoz on behalf of the Business Networking Channel hosted by the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, here with David Vistine, the pastor of the Las Cruces First Assembly Church. So thank you for watching. We will see you next week.